Well, hello my friends, it's Shawn Petite and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And this is the beauty that we're creating today, the Angel of Kindness. Oh, I love her. Here are the supplies that we'll be using for today's project. And so I'm starting today's project on an 11 by 14 MDF board, and I'm putting all of my papers down with Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium. And I am using papers from the Land Bird Collage Pack. And I originally didn't have a huge plan for the papers, except that I wanted some of the lighter colors at the top and the darker colors towards the bottom, kind of maybe representing ground or something like that, but really not much of a plan. And as I started putting all the papers down and actually putting the angel down, they were perfect. The placement of everything was absolutely perfect, and I just love it when that happens. Everything happens for a reason. So I'm using 3 different wildflower stencils here to just really kind of get the process started. I knew I wanted maybe some flowers or something like that at the bottom or on her skirt or something like that, and I didn't know exactly what yet. These flowers don't end up actually showing through much, but they're still there a little bit. And it's, you know, you always kind of have to start the process somewhere. And that's where I started. So I'm using just a little bit of gesso on my palette knife, really thin skim coat of gesso, just to kind of push everything back and kind of mute everything and kind of get a more neutral palette for creating on. Working really hard to let my layers show through, because I am notorious for doing so many layers that none of the papers show through, and sometimes that's part of the process. But I knew that I wanted to have some of this show through just because of where I was going to take this piece. So I'm working with a new tool. To me, it's a water-soluble graphite stick, and I think I'm going to love it. But I'm just kind of experimenting for the first time with it here on the angel. Doing just a rough sketch, and typically I would use one of my stencils for the body, but because this piece is larger, I don't have one yet to go with the large angel wing stencil, but it's coming. So here is where I'm like, I need more flowers, something more vintage, something more on her skirt. And so I just placed a few of these vintage papers down, just real kind of really random, and then knew that, yeah, that looked good. I'm using some Americana craft paint, and this color is called Suede. I believe it's Suede. Again, all the supplies will be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog will be down below in the YouTube description box. But I'm mixing this with just some gesso. And I'm really being messy about it. And as I'm putting the paint down, I'm lifting it back up with my towel, because again, I want those layers to show through. And I did a really good job. I was very proud of myself for actually allowing the papers to show through. It's always very hard, because it's always like, oh, there's more goodness to put on, but I was very good. I knew I wanted to kind of really block out some of the things for her her robe or her dress, only because we need that contrast to kind of make things stand out. And so I was a little heavier handed with the paint on this one on her coat, but still allowing those wonderful words to show through. And it's all from the bird books, and it's just awesome. So I'm still using Americana's craft paints, and the color I'm using here is, I think it's peach, something like that, and then sugared peach, and I don't remember the other color, but again, they'll be listed. And just kind of doing, and the paint is watered down, so I'm just doing light coats here and there, and then just adding either a darker tone or a lighter tone with gesso or something like that, to add just a little bit of variety and depth to the piece. Adding a bit of tone to her face and hands, and kind of developing that a little bit, highlights and lowlights, different skin tone colors, and just putting that down with my, and I'm trying to remember what paint I used for the face tones, but it was a mixture because I wanted more of a darker skin tone, and so it was a mixture of paints, but pretty much all either Deco Art Americana paints or Artesa's new vintage tone paints, craft paints. Just kind of layering things out and trying very, very hard not to cover up my vines at the bottom of her skirt. And so as I was putting this together, and I knew I wanted to do the Angel of Kindness because I just feel like we all need a little bit more kindness right now. I was thinking about how like nature and caring for animals and nature and different things like that, that represented kindness to me for some reason. And so that's why I went with the birds, that there was no fear of this angel with the birds, with the wildlife, basically. So that's kind of why I went there. Here's my large, this is a 12 by 16 stencil, large angel wings, and oh, it's so great. I'm using I'm using Nova Colors white texture paste, which I'm absolutely loving. And just getting a good coverage all through the stencil. I did dry this side before I went over and did this side because I didn't want to mess up the other side with it being wet. So I did dry it first before I put this side down. Now I'm just going to come in and really kind of add details and different things like that. It's kind of a back and forth. It's a dance a little bit, but I'm just using gesso for a lot of my white, and then I grabbed some cobblestone and sand gray, I think it is, for some of my other lighter colors. And what I'm doing now is I'm really trying to create some separation from the background and her face. Creating contrast is always key in making something really stand out. And so I have traced around my angel and with my Stabilo All pencil, and a Stabilo All pencil is water soluble, so it added this perfect kind of messy feel to her that I wanted, and it just works so well. And again, creating contrast and defining the focal point with my Stabilo All pencil. And I will go around everything with the Stabilo All pencil just to get some shading. I originally was going to do it with my charcoal pencil, but there's so much texture on the wings, and then I really wanted it to be kind of watery and messy and not quite so perfect. And so I went with the Stabilo All pencil. And I was putting some of that Stabilo All on her wings because her wings were super bright white, which I normally love. But a lot of that is because I do a wash over it, and I wasn't going to do that. So I had to figure a few things out towards the end of what I was going to do. I cut out some vintage flowers and put those down with some gel medium. And then I'm just going to add some of my own flowers on there using Artesa's new vintage tones acrylic paint, craft acrylic paint. So I sketched in my birds with my charcoal pencil, and I'm just using a variety of blues to paint in the birds. And I wanted that blue because it was a contrast to all of the other things that were happening in the piece. And showing that kindness can bring peace. Using my fine line applicator to add my dots and details, and those white dots just make the piece. It just kind of brings everything together, and kind of brings those bright white wings together too. I've used a Posca pen and added a few more dots. And then I'm just going to start adding some of the details with my charcoal pencil. And with my charcoal pencils, I'm using a couple of different ones. I'm using 3 different ones. I'm using extra soft, I'm using medium, and I'm using hard. The hard ones are for the more defined lines, soft, sketchy lines. And then the medium is not quite as soft or not quite as hard, and still allows me able to kind of smooth it out without getting a real dark line. And then the extra soft will allow me to really get some smushing of that charcoal and really add some depth in certain places. Just kind of adding with my hard charcoal pencil some kind of sketchy lines all the way around the wings, around her body, just kind of making it messy, and it felt good. And you can see down at the bottom that some of those original flowers that I started with they're showing through, and it's perfect. Now the color and a few extra wonderful things happen with my soft pastels. I was wanting to have a little bit more depth and dimension in the piece as far as color, but I wasn't sure. And soft pastels are always the best way for me to add color without any risk. I wanted her to have a little bit more color and vibrancy, and I could do that with my soft pastels, as well as add highlights and lowlights and different things like that, some of the other details. But I added some of this blue as some shading in there on her dress and around her face, and it's just simply gorgeous. And I would have been afraid to do that with regular paint, and if it didn't work with my soft pastels, I could just wipe it up. So soft pastels are just such a great way to experiment with color or try a color without any risk at all. So here I'm just adding a little bit of color to my piece, which I felt like it needed just a little bit of something. And I can add my depth and shading and light source and that kind of thing, all with my soft pastels. Now I will spray this twice with a clear sealer before I move on. After I do all of this, I took it outside and I sprayed it so that none of the work that I just did would move. And I didn't spray it with a fixative. I sprayed it with an actual sealer, because I had so much soft pastel. I'm doing just a little bit of sketching here on her with my hard pencil. I'm trying to figure out at this point, like, my wings are so bright. And I'm trying to figure out, do I need to add more white? What do I need to do? So I add her words and then get that put down with some gel medium. adding just a tiny bit more shading, more depth. Here's where the magic happened. As soon as I did this, I knew right away. I was like, ah, all is good. Wait till you see how it dries, because you can't really tell right now because it's wet. But when it dries, it's perfect, just perfect. It just toned it down just enough to make all things good. And that is it, my friends. Thank you so much for being here today. And stick around for the conversation at the end. It's a good one about the inspiration and why I created what I created. And I hope that you have a great week, and I will see you next Sunday. Well, hello, my friends, and happy Sunday to you. This is absolutely, it turned out the writing up here in the background paper, it says the Blue Jay. I'm like everything, all the little bits and pieces that are showing through. I just love that. This is my angel of kindness, and I'm just so pleased with how this turned out, and we'll talk about this in just a minute. But real quick, let's see. When you see this video, the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale is going strong, and you will have a few more days to get in on the 20% off. I have a video showing what actually is on sale, which might be helpful. I'll link to that video down below in the YouTube description box. And then, so it's 20% off of everything except for all the printed, like pillows, totes, aprons, shirts, all those kinds of things. But everything else is 20% off, including the overstock. So the overstock is just stuff that we had prepared for shows, and then we weren't able to do the shows. So we have a lot of stuff in stock. So anyway, lots of good deals. Things are flying off the shelf. All originals, everything. So anyway, grab some Cyber Monday, Black Friday deals, and get some gifts and all those kinds of things. And let's see, what else is happening? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Well, if I do, I will let you know. But this is an 11 by 14, and I've not done an angel this size before, and I was really unsure about it, and I still had, it took me a while to kind of get used to her. But this is the 12 by 16 stencil. There's also an 8 by 10 of this stencil, so in case you don't want to do the big one. But oh man, is she amazing. Simply amazing. I actually wanted to have more plants over here, and I kind of sketched and scratched a few in, and I went back and forth because I had some images, like some kind of vine things on tissue paper to put down, but after I kind of looked at her a little bit, I decided to leave her just the way that she is. She's super simple, and yet I positively love her. And then the final really great thing was putting the acrylic ink on her wings and giving it that kind of grunginess. But I just positively love her. And so she is my angel of kindness. And when I was thinking about kindness, which is something that we just all really need right now, from everyone. I think everyone's super stressed and tired and ready for things to just kind of calm down, be normal. I don't even know what normal will look like, but it just every day feels overwhelming sometimes. And I know it's not just me, because my staff has kind of expressed it too. And but anyway, with all of that, people are on edge, and there are very few kind words. I'm just running to the grocery store. Oh, people are on edge. And, you know, I do my very best to thank people and to just utter a few words of kindness, no matter what, in whatever situation I can in the moment. And I think it startles people sometimes, because, you know, somebody bagged up my groceries or whatever, and I just said, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. And it was like, what? So I just thought, golly, as I was walking out of the grocery store, I'm like, man, we just need more kindness, more grace, more mercy for people. Everybody's going through stuff, and everything's kind of off balance, and you know, people aren't able to spend time with their family for the holidays, and it's just, one of the staff cried because she's not getting together with her people. And so anyway, I just know that if we start with ourselves and are kind to ourselves and allow ourselves some grace, allow ourselves the time to just maybe kind of be blah and yeah, about the things, all the things. Allow that to happen. And then give yourself some time to rest and just kind of be. And then when you're kind to yourself, you're able to be kind to others. Kinder, I should say. Sometimes it's not that cut and dry, and sometimes people make it very hard to be kind to them. But we still have a choice on how to respond. And so that's just my simple message this week, is be kind to yourself, and then in turn be kind to others. Everyone is going through the things. And I think we're all waiting for a change, and who knows when that will come. So if we realize that it might be longer than expected, then we just need to take a deep breath and be kinder. Kinder to ourselves and kind to each other. And here she is, kindness, our angel of kindness. And that's really it, my friends. Super simple this week. Really simple piece, but I just loved her. I love her. Love, love. My friends, I hope that you're, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, that it was a time to reflect and a time to really take inventory of what we all have to be grateful for, and a time that we can share kindness with our neighbors, with those who are hurting, and with ourselves. And I hope that you will have some restful, peaceful time this weekend, and that you take care of yourself and your loved ones. And my friends, I hope that you always know that you are loved.